Hi, I'm Dave Kale. Welcome to this Christian Business Insights podcast show where my goal is to provide you with practical, actionable ideas to help you create businesses and careers of excellence and at the same time multiply your influence for the kingdom. I have been a Christian in business for over 30 years, and I have personally and contractually consulted with over 500 different sales organizations. So in these podcasts, I combine the lessons that I have learned with an out-of-the-box experience and perspective on Christianity that you will find challenging. And we put that together to provide you with practical insights and ideas that you can use to live better and lead better. Welcome to the journey. Hi, this is Dave. Too many people focus on the wrong things. That's an observation I've made over 30 years of sales consulting, working with over 500 different sales organizations. In my world of B2B salespeople, sales managers, and sales executives, the pressure to produce short-term numbers often eclipses a more thoughtful long-term strategy. And one way to ensure that you're focusing on the right things is to thoughtfully establish the metrics that you'll track. Put the right metrics in place, and you have the raw material to transform your sales efforts and dramatically increase the top line. And I found one metric that is almost universally ignored, yet is key to sharply focusing a sales team's efforts. And the metric is this, quote, the number of customers the company or sales territory currently serves. Let me repeat that. The metric is this: the number of customers the company or the sales territory currently serves. Now, we've all heard about valuing our customers, so the concept is not new. What is lacking, though, is building the idea into the structure of our company's sales efforts. With a little work, the idea of the value of customers can provide direction to the company and amplify the company's sales efforts. Yet, in my 30 years of sales consulting, I commonly ask this question of a new client: how many customers do you have? I mean, that's almost the very first question I ask when I'm interviewing a new client. How many customers do you have? And I cannot remember any sales executive answering that question with a definitive number. Like no one said, 502. No one says that. In other words, almost no one tracks this absolutely essential metric. What they'll do is talk around it. Well, we have some this, and of course we have that, and well, maybe, and so nobody has a definitive answer. Why is that? Well, they're so focused on selling things that they neglect to remember that they sell those things to people. People are more important than transactions. Now, sales is ultimately about influencing and serving people. Companies who don't track the number of customers often rely on metrics that ignore the people and instead track transactions. While transactions are important, keeping track of the people is more important. The value of a company is more determined by the number of customers it has than the amount of money in its coffers. Here's how to implement that concept. I've got a multiple-step process here. Number one, create the definition of a customer. Now, most sales organizations have no objective measurement for what constitutes a customer. I mean, it's not written down anywhere. No one knows exactly. And so it's no wonder that they don't know how many they have, because they have no definition for it. So first of all, create a definition. Now, your definition should be objective and it should be data-driven. In other words, the computer should be able to spit it out. There should be no conversation about is this customer or not. It ought to be clear and precise. It should reflect a relationship that extends beyond just a simple transaction. For example, if someone walks into your showroom and buys $100 worth of stuff and leaves, is that person a customer? Well, most companies would say no. In this case, one transaction doesn't make a customer. Okay, so what does? One of my clients defines a customer this way, quote, a customer is a qualified account that spends $1,500 each month for at least 3 out of 4 consecutive months. Let me repeat that because I think it's a great definition. A customer is a qualified account, so first of all, qualified account, that spends $1,500 each month for at least 3 out of 4 consecutive months. So when that happens, they know they have a customer. Now, I think that's a great example because it captures the repetitive nature of the transaction, adds an objective dollar amount. So with this definition, the computer can spit out how many accounts met this criterion every month, and every salesperson knows exactly what the criteria are. So, number one, create a definition of a customer. Now, your definition can vary by market segment. So, for example, if you sell high-end building materials to contractors and architects, let's say, you could have one definition for the contractors who actually buy your products, and you could have a different definition for the architects who specify those products. So, your definition can vary by market segment. Your definition can also vary by classes of customer. You can classify customers based on historical performance. So you can have A customers who spend more than a certain dollar amount with you, B customers who spend between certain dollar amounts, and C customers who spend less than that. So you can classify customers on the basis of historical performance. Or here's another one: you can classify customers on the basis of potential. We have a whole body of content, a system that we've taught for years and years that help people do that, and that is to prioritize customers on the basis of potential. But you can do that as well. I'm not going to get into it in any more detail right now. So again, first step, create a definition of customers, and you can vary that a little bit if you'd like. Then, now that you have a definition of customers in place, track the measurements monthly and pay attention to trends. So I recommend that you just look at the number every month. It takes you 10 minutes. It's not a big deal. So if you have 100 customers at the end of January, 95 at the end of February, and 90 at the end of March, well, you better do something, regardless of the sales dollar, something is happening that you need to attend to. And that's the purpose of measurements. It brings up to your attention the things that you need to attend to. Now, this issue of creating a metric and looking at it every month, in this case, it's a forward-looking metric. It's always easier to sell more to a current customer than it is to acquire a new one. So, the number of customers indicates the likelihood of future sales. You follow me there? Again, let me repeat that. It's always easier to sell more to a current customer than to acquire a new one. So, if you have an ever-growing number of customers, you should have an ever-growing likelihood of future sales. It's one of the most powerful measurements of the future health and prosperity of a sales organization. A healthy company sees this number trending upward. Now, if you choose to use classes of customers, again, let's say you have classes of customers based on historical sales, you can follow those trends as well. For example, you can use pure sales dollars as the definition of a customer, then you ought to see regular movement from C customers to B customers and B customers to A as your salespeople penetrate the accounts. So this will indicate your sales system's performance in penetrating the customers and in achieving the potential business in that account. So you can set this metric, in such a way as to show you the number of customers and to show you your system's performance in penetrating those customers. Again, it's just a simple little metric. Ultimately, a sales organization needs to do two things. It needs to acquire new customers first, and it needs to penetrate those it currently has. This customer metric allows you to measure both of those things and is the ultimate measurement of the health and effectiveness of your sales efforts. Now, now let's say you put that in place. Here's one more wrinkle. Now that you can measure how many and what quality of customers you want, add another layer of sophistication by creating an objective measurement of the economic value of every customer. We call this the lifetime value of a customer. And again, you can start with a simple average of all customers. So let's just, again, make it real simple. Let's average all customers and then use this simple formula. For all customers, determine the average annual gross profit per customer. Now let's do a simple measurement for all customers. Later you can do A, B, A customers, B, you can do market segments and so on. But for now, let's just get the idea. Number one, average annual gross profit. Number two, estimate the average length of time that a customer continues to buy from you, measured in years. So if you don't know, okay, well, that's something you should know, so do a little research and figure it out. Number three is just simply multiply lines 2 by line 1. So the average annual gross profit times the number of years. Bingo. You have the lifetime value of a customer in your business. So here's an example. Let's say your average gross profit per customer, annual gross profit is $6,800. Okay. Average number of years a customer continues to buy, let's say, is 12. Okay, so 12 times 68, lifetime value of an average customer, $81,600. See, once you establish an average, you can then become much more sophisticated. You can create or calculate a lifetime value of customers for A customers, for B customers, etc., for C customers. You can create and lifetime value for the average customer per market segment. So, for example, I used the earlier example of building material contractor. Maybe a contractor is worth $2 million, and an architect may be worth $5 million. So you don't know until you put some numbers to it. Now that you have those core numbers, you can use these metrics to transform your sales force. Again, you have 2 key metrics in place. You can use the information gathered from this to amplify your sales efforts. For example, here's some things you can do once you get those 2 metrics in place. You can incent salespeople to create new customers. Now that you can track it, acquiring a new customer is measured by the computer. Should be one of the key activities your sales system pursues and rewards. So you can change the compensation plan, move from commissions on sales to incentives on behavior, and one of the incentives on behavior is acquiring new customers. See, now that you know what a new customer is and you're tracking it very specifically, objectively, why not reward it specifically, regardless of the dollar amount, because you've got that taken care of as you built in the definition. Now, reward salespeople for acquiring new customers. Or you can use the lifetime value of a customer to determine if a prospect is worth a salesperson's time. If the lifetime value is below some certain number, for example, that account may never be profitable. It should be avoided. So use the lifetime value of a customer to keep the salespeople focused on high profitable customers. Salespeople, here's another one. Salespeople can be encouraged to spend more time with the high lifetime value customers and less time with the lower. Absolutely, you should be doing that. What else? Well, you can reward the movement of one class of customer to another. So, example, moving a B customer to an A customer is a behavior that will likely be the most profitable of all. Why not create an incentive to encourage the salespeople to do that? And if you track customers by market segment, you can incentive new customers in some market segments and discourage them in others, and thus moving your sales team's effort to more profitable areas. You see, this simple little metric, man, gives you the ability to do all kinds of things that will amplify your sales efforts. So when you apply these metrics, you'll have a system in place which focuses on 2 simple key initiatives. acquiring new customers, penetrating current accounts. Now, you can focus on building the system to excel at these key sales behaviors. For example, you can refine the collateral to support these efforts. You may arrange your products and product lines to be more compatible with the new metrics. You can train the salespeople in the specific behaviors necessary to acquire new customers and penetrate existing ones. You'll find multiple ways of supporting the sales force to enable them to do what you want them to do. Truly, implementing a focus on customers can transform a sales force. Okay? Hey, before I close, I just want to mention a couple things. Now is the time when we are taking registrations for our annual, once a year, Sales Leaders Excellence and Influence course. This is an 8-session course in which we teach you a system for managing salespeople remotely. So if you are a supervisor, you supervise salespeople remotely, then this is the system for you. It was designed specifically for you. We've taught it to over 2,000 different sales managers. It gets rewards or results in 2 ways. Number one, it almost immediately impacts the sales team in a positive way. Number two, provides the sales leader, the sales manager, with a system, set of principles and practices that he or she can use for the rest of their career. It's a great investment. It's limited. We take people through as a cohort once a year. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes here. Check it out, and don't delay. I mean, we're going to start just a little bit after the first of the year. Okay? Whew. That's it. We're done. Bye-bye.